My girl is a little distant and doesn't want to have sex. We have one kid and life stresses.
Well, first things first, gotta read 3% Man. You gotta learn the fundamentals. There are no shortcuts to success. So I've been doing this almost 20 years at this point, and I've done tens of thousands of phone sessions, answered probably 3 times as many emails, and you see patterns over and over and over again. And so when I talk to guys that are in those situations in their relationships, they usually do one of 2 things, or both, a combination of both of them. Number one, she doesn't feel heard and understood. He doesn't spend the time listening to her, opening her up. Hey, how was your day? It's like one of the best things a guy can do when he comes home from working all day, especially if the wife has been dealing with the crazy kids and the pets and everything else that goes on, raising kids or being a stay-at-home mom. He's like, hey, how was your day, babe? And get her to talk. Don't try to solve the problems. Just get her to talk and tell you about her day and what else. And that makes her feel like you care because you're taking time to listen. Even though you were the guy out slaying the dragons, you come home and you're like, hey, babe, how was your day? And these are basic rapport creating skills. If you're in sales and you're selling to any client, first thing you want to do is be asking questions. Whoever's asking questions is the one that's running the conversation. And when you meet with a client, if you're trying to create rapport with them, or you're meeting a girl in person the first time, is you want to ask the kind of questions that they would enjoy answering. And so those are typically questions about themselves, because people that are close to you and care about you want to know about you. They want to know what's going on, how your day is, how the job is, how the wife is, how the kids, how the house is, the new pool that you put in. They want to catch up on what's going on in your life. And so when you meet somebody that's a total stranger and you start asking those kinds of questions, it automatically, because they're thinking, oh, great, now I got to deal with this salesperson here. It's trying to sell me something. I know they're going to have a pitch or use some kind of close on me. And then the guy just starts talking to you and asking you questions about your family, where you grew up, what you do for fun. And instead of a salesperson, now it disarms them, makes them feel like, hey, I'm talking to an old friend, somebody I already know, somebody that I'm close to. And so that's why it's so effective. And so when you come home at the end of the day, hey, babe, how was your day? Because women say about 8,000 words a day. Us guys tend to say about 2,000 words. And if you feel the urge, because a lot of guys make this mistake of trying to solve the problem, because that's how us guys are wired. If she just, because most of the time women just talk, and you just got to listen and facilitate their discussion without giving them solutions. But if you feel inclined and you're not sure if they want you just to be a sounding board and listen, or they need your opinion on something, ask. So, do you want me just to listen, or you need my opinion? And she'll, most of the time, will go, oh, I just want you to listen. And she'll continue talking and telling you whatever. And so that's the first thing, is that guys don't take the time to make their girl feel heard and understood. And so if you're not making her feel heard and understood, guess what? She feels like you don't care because you don't take the time. Women know instinctually that a guy's actions mean everything about how he feels about them. So if you're not taking the time to open her up and see how her day was, then she's not going to feel close to you. When she feels heard and understood, the legs open. And when she doesn't, the legs close. And so the second thing is that guys do or screw up, especially when they get kids and they're living together and they've been together several years, is the courtship ends. Guys think, hey, well, that part of the relationship is over. We live together. We're married. We got kids. Things are different now. I don't have to do all those things. And you always need to date and court your wife or your girlfriend, because if you don't, and you don't make her feel heard and understood, and you don't date and court her properly, eventually some other guy's going to come along and open her up in that way, and it'll start out as casual conversation. Then she'll feel attraction because she'll be like, wow, this guy makes me feel like he cares about me, even though he could be a total stranger. I just did a video newsletter yesterday. The guy had been with his girl 13 years, and they have... they live together 12 years. They own a house together. They own a business together. They got 2 kids together. They're cohabitating. And he finds out that his wife is sending topless pictures of herself to some dude she met at a family member's wedding that's like in the middle of the country. That's, they're a plane ride away. And that's what happens. It's like there's no intimacy. The guy comes home. They're kind of roommates. They're not having sex anymore. He's mad at her. They're arguing all the time. And here's this dude she bumps into at a wedding, and he's really interested in her, obviously. And he just asks her questions because he's fascinated by her. And she feels like, wow, this guy really seems to care. It's been a long time since a man talked to me in that way or seemed to care what was going on in my life. And so that's how those things start. And so the courtship never ends. It's because, again, if you care, you're going to date and court her. That means you handle the dinner reservations or the bed and breakfast reservations or the plane or the airfare or the dinner reservations or getting your table if you're going to Top Flight Golf, which is a great fun type of date to go where you can eat and you can drink and you can interact and she can punch you as you bust her on her terrible golf swing and the fact that the balls never go where they are and have fun. That's a great date. But you handle the babysitters. It's like you do all that stuff. All she has to do is show up and look hot, make sure she's doing 70, 80% of the talking. And like the biggest complaint women have is they typically say is like, like we talked about last year in that book that I'm not going to mention, but they're like, the guy was romantic at first, and then the longer they're together, he just stops. He stops doing those kinds of things, stops going out on dates, and then every weekend and every night it's like takeout or making dinner, and they do the same routine. And so you got to make her feel heard and understood, and you got to date her, and you got to be the leader, and you got to handle it. Don't be saying, "What do you want to do, honey?" I don't know. What do you want to do? Be the leader. So that's a big part of it. So I would say would start there. Start there. The biggest thing you can do today is when you come home at the end of the day, "Hey, babe, how was your day?" Start open her up and just get her to talk. Don't get butthurt. Don't get perturbed. Don't get emotionally hijacked. Don't be a jack in the box and freak out about what she's saying. Just take it as constructive feedback that as a man, you need to do better. And women have no problem letting you know what your weaknesses and your shortcomings are. They will tell you explicitly what they are. So don't get butthurt. Just go, "Hey, as a man, I need to get better." I appreciate the radical honesty.
One thing I have to nitpick on is you say that girls just have to show up and look pretty.
For the date. That's just talking about for the date.
For the date, right.
Because I got it. I got it handled. Show up, look hot. Relax. She'll be more feminine, more flirty, more girly, and be more in her feminine energy because she feels safe and comfortable. And you'll be more attracted to her. You'll physically want to have sex with her more if she's in her feminine and you've handled all the dinner reservations and the babysitter arrangements or the travel arrangements or getting a table or paying the door guy off so you can go right by the door, the velvet door rope, whatever, or the door, the velvet door thing at the bar. So it's like, yeah, take care of those. That's what a man does. Hang out, have fun, hook up. A date is really just a romantic opportunity for sex to happen. Something to have fun together. The couple that plays together tends to stay together because love is playful and fun. It's not serious. It's not butthurt. It's not getting angry. It's not getting triggered. Yeah, I know you got something to say. Go ahead. Let's hear what you got, science girl.
I just don't think men really understand all the effort and work that women put into themselves to have to get ready to go on dates. From hair, outfits, shaving, makeup.
Gotta shave them legs.
Nails.
Keep the landing strip nice and clean.
The stuff that we have to do, especially in like the beginning of like when you're like dating someone new and you're just nervous and you don't want to turn someone off or sway them in the wrong way.
Gentlemen, make sure you wash your bung holes.
Safe yet? It's a lot of work. And
yes, women are definitely a lot of work.
And guys think it doesn't take a lot, but
yeah, they're trying on 10 different outfits.
They're always like, "Oh, a woman's always
different
late."
shades.
And,
yeah, they're like,
"Oh,
lipstick.
hurry up!" And like they don't realize like we're trying on like 20 different outfits, 50 different pairs of shoes. Like we've taken our makeup off maybe 15 times,
and you want to look good for them.
And we're doing this for them.
And then you got a zit on your nose you're trying to deal with.
Exactly. We've been red lighting that zit from head to toe. Like. It's a process.
You got to mow the front lawn.
It's a 3-day process before the date. And
So she's already stressed out.
she's stressed
before
out
the
beyond
date.
belief.
Not only she has other issues she's dealing with, but she's stressed out about looking
When
good.
it comes to the date,
Right.
because whatever, this is what's so important, and guys get butthurt about that. Hey, you got to cater to women. It's like whatever a woman feels when she's with you is what she's going to associate with being with you. And so if getting around you makes you feel safe and relaxed to where she can just really enjoy herself and have fun and not have to worry about anything because you handled it all, that's when she feels closer to you and she starts rubbing up against you and then attaches herself like a suckerfish and then doesn't go away, and then it makes it you never get denied in the bedroom. As a matter of fact, it's like she's usually the one grabbing you because you turn her on so much. And that's a big thing that a lot of guys want, is they want sex and they're getting like nothing. They're getting once or twice a month. And a lot of long-term, a lot of dudes are in long-term relationships. I knew a guy years ago that last I talked to him, I've lost touch, but he was with his wife she gained weight after I think they had 3 or 4 kids. I can't remember. This is like 20-something years ago. And he was a nice guy, came from a wealthy family, had a pretty easy life, was involved in the family business and the other things that he invested in, successful business guy. And his wife had been attractive when she was younger, but after the kids, she kind of blew up a little bit. She butched her hair. She never wore any makeup, and she was like, and she was a redhead, and she's just bitchy all the time. And it's like, and then I heard he's like, they hadn't had sex almost like 8 years. And
Oh my God.
And I was like, and the last I heard, he still was with her. And I was like, man, that poor bastard.
That poor woman.
Dude.
Yeah.
How do
What
you
about
be with
her?
someone that
They-
doesn't
Well, he tries to
Give each
seduce
other-
her and he gets nowhere because he didn't, back then, this was before I connected all the dots that I've connected in this great book. But there's a lot of guys like that. Over the years of my coaching practice, I've talked to countless guys that like they were like the last 30 years of their marriage was like the sex stopped at like 15 years ago. They've been living in separate bedrooms. And then the guy goes and leaves his wife and the kids, they're all pissed off at him. And, he might be in his 60s at this point. So he's going out, he's meeting, girls half his age at the mall and got himself a new rug, a new outfit, new apartment, new attitude. And, dates a lot because he might have only been with 1 or 2 women his whole life, like they met in high school. And so a lot of dudes, that's their experience. They have kids, and it's like after they stop, they're done having kids, it's like the sex gets cut off because they're not dating their wives anymore, and they're not making them feel heard and understood. On top of that, they're complaining and they're whining all the time and they're arguing. So it's like whenever they're together, all she does is feel friction from him instead of ease and delight to where she just won't leave him alone.
I mean, we got to emphasize a courtship never ends, and that includes not disregarding the love language of your partner. If
Correct.
the person's love language is acts of service or quality time, you have to take a lot of things into consideration. If your wife is like stressed out all the time, and she wants to feel heard and understood, that's like considered
You got to
an
be
act
the
of
escape.
service.
You got to
Yeah.
be the escape for her, to escape from the stress. And so, like, the lightness of just taking the kids and running the household and the groceries and making dinner off her shoulders for a night where she can dress up and look hot and just be a girl and go dancing or shoot pool with you or go to the gun range or whatever. Have a nice glass of wine at a nice jazz bar where it's not too loud, where you can actually talk. It's like she's, and you let her do most of the talking and you listen to her and you catch up on everything, the day's events. There'll be a lot of intimacy there, and she'll always feel like she can come to you with everything, and you'll actually listen. And when a solution or opinion is needed, you're happy to give it, and it makes things pretty easy.
And don't take her to the same place all the time. Like, women don't want to go to the same bar every time. Oh, let's go out. Okay, where are we going? We're going so-and-so. Okay, we went there, last week. Do something new. Create something. Create an adventure for you guys to both enjoy together. And so you're both experiencing new things. So you're both in awe at the things that you're experiencing together.
Yeah, mix it up a little bit.
Yeah,
Don't
because
be
that stuff
afraid.
gets boring. And that she already is bored. You know,
Girls just want to have
the
fun.
same,
like
the
Cyndi Lauper
routine
said.
over and over and over again. You know, it's just
Yeah, a lot of dudes in
gets
marriages because they got kids and like, let's put a movie in so the kids chill out and, you know, turn the lights down low so they fall asleep. And maybe after the kids go to bed and we put them to bed, we can have a glass of wine or two and catch up and, 'cause, you know, or you're, you know, the kids are distracted watching something. So you go in the bathroom, you lock the door and you're like, and like literally as soon as you finish and put your clothes back on, you forgot to lock the door and then the door blasts. So what are you guys doing in here? Because they kind of hear some of the noises or whatever. But that's, you know, so that's the reality of a lot of dudes. And this is not something that happens overnight. It's usually over many months and years. Like the, you know, the guy I was talking about earlier, the one about, you know, I caught my wife sending nudes to another man. I think that was the name of the video newsletter. And they've been together 13 years. They got 2 kids. They got a business. They own a house together. And, you know, the guys in the comments are like, oh, just dump her. She's not loyal. And it's like, that's easy to do, but he wants to try to fix things. And, you know, my job is to put him in the best position to do that, to either reattract her or find somebody way better for him. But it's easy for a young dude that's got no experience to just sit there in the comments and go, oh, yeah, dump her. It's like the real estate market has completely gone the other way. It was one of the things he said in the email. So he can't sell the house at the dollar that he could get or should be able to get for it. So he's going to be sitting in that for several years. They got a business together. If one of them bought the other one out, then you got to hire somebody to take that job, which is going to affect the income and affects their ability to support their family. So plus they got kids, they live together 13 years. That's not something you just flippantly walk away from.
Time and money.
But if you put him in the position where he can be his most attractive self, make her feel heard and understood, start dating and courting her because they do live in the same house, pretty easy thing to fix, that she'll slowly fall back in love with him and things will be better than they ever have been.
You just got to take her out on a couple dates, ask her how she's really feeling.
Get her in tune with her feminine energy.
Yeah.
Rather than complain, oh, she's becoming masculine.
She went to have sex with me.
She's such a bitch.
I got to beg her for a blowjob.
Yeah.
Like the reason why we get into our masculine is because we feel like we have no choice.
Yeah, because he ain't leading. That's why.
Yeah. At the end of the day, as women, we choose our mates. If you think about it, it's in our nature. You know, if we have kids, we need to choose what we think is the mate for us. You know, at the end of the day, we're going to carry their children. If we have a masculine man, you know, that allows us to not only feel heard and understood and also lets us be in our feminine state, you know, that attracts us. It really does.
It's biology.
Instead of complaining, oh, the woman's becoming feminine, ill, gross, cooties, like assess a lot of things. Talk it out, man. Like, talk it out. Even if it's uncomfortable.
She's super feminine, that's when she's going to be really dirty and naughty and perverted in the bedroom.
Just imagine some dude in the comment, it's not our fault you guys are becoming masculine.
Yeah.
We've gotten those, like, red pill comments.
Oh, you should have seen the comments from yesterday's video. Over 200 of them, my video newsletter. It's like, especially the red pill guys. Oh, you didn't blame the woman. It's like,
wait, is that the
just because I didn't mention, well, obviously, because I thought it was obvious, like what she did was she sent topless nudes to the dude somewhere in the Midwest, or the mid East, I guess it was. So it's closer to the coast, and they're in California. So she's texting this guy. This started after she met him at some family member's wedding.
But was this for YouTube?
Flying out there.
Yeah, it was on YouTube. It was the video newsletter from yesterday.
She could say she's going with her friends to fly out and then meet up.
The cheating hasn't happened yet. He went all the way back to the very beginning when they started talking. And the other thing was part of it. There was one of the girls, one of the neighbors, is kind of she parties a lot and she kind of is a little toxic. You know, she's a bad influence, and so her friends and family are like they don't like her hanging out. And when the comment thread started that particular night, she was actually hanging out with this friend that everybody doesn't approve of, and it's probably because they were sharing and talking, and she's probably complaining about her relationship. They ain't had sex. He doesn't, seem to care. I mean, she specifically spelled these things out to him. She specifically told him about the lack of communication, that she didn't feel like he listened, and
she told him what to fix.
It was exactly, And it
She's
And
writing
it just
out
went through
the
his
guidebook,
head. Yeah.
like fix these things so you can get.
that's why
my
you got to read the
pussy
book
wet.
so you can know what to look for. 3% Man.
Give
It's
them
free
an
to read on my
ultimatum.
website.
Fix it or somebody else will.
Like, we make it very
Some other
apparent
guy will
when we
come
need
along and be a
fix.
man, and he'll take her off your hands.
It's really not that hard.
Mm-mm.
Like,
And if we
guys
make
think
it
it's like-
apparent, and there's not many women out there that are very, like, have the emotion, like, the intelligence to be like, hey, I know you can't read minds, so I'm just going to tell you straight up, hey, this is how it works. Because there's a lot of women out there that they're like, oh, no, he should know. But there's women that are wise enough to understand no one can read minds. So it's like, when we tell you, don't let that go over your head.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people verbalize it. It's just that
Not many people do, but be lucky if someone does actually verbalize it.
I think that people do verbalize it, but they sugarcoat it because they don't want to hurt the other person's feelings, in a sense. So they're doing it in a way like, oh, it's okay, but it's really not okay.
No, it's not.
And you need to be okay, like, having that tough conversation with your partner. Like, hey, we
has to
gotta
be
we gotta
done.
fix this.
It really has to be done, yeah, for sure.